Good afternoon, Boston. How are you? I take it that we must have overfed you because I said, Boston, how are you? My name is Jim Sinai, and I have the pleasure to being with you this afternoon, and we have a great show and some great customer speakers, a great demo to really showcase the Salesforce1 Platform. But before we get in and showcase this platform, we're going to showcase probably the most important thing you need to know today, which is our safe harbor. The short story here is we advise you to make your purchasing decisions based on what's currently available in the market. And we may show you some things that are future looking, but mostly we just want you to be excited about what you can do with the platform. So this morning we heard an awesome, awesome vision from Keith and Fergus and Sarah and our customers about this thing called the Internet of Customers, and about how it's revolutionizing how we're interacting with our customers, how we're connecting to our customers, and we're using new platforms. And what we're going to do this afternoon is do a show in 3 parts. The first part will be about how Salesforce1 Platform is helping you build next-generation apps. The second part is around next-generation IT. And then the third part is this concept that we're really passionate about, which is how the Salesforce1 Platform is helping you transform your enterprise, helping you transform your business. So let's get right into the first section. And in the first section, we're really going to start by looking at this concept of how apps fuel the Internet of Customers. And the best way to sort of explain this is to tell a very personal story because, a connected thing means a lot of things to a lot of people. But for me, I just recently acquired a new car. And I got a car, I'm not going to tell you which brand, but it wasn't an American car, it wasn't a Ford. And I was very proud of myself for this car. And then my neighbor pulls up in a brand new Ford, and he pulls out his phone, and he shows this application where he can track his car, and he can see the mileage, he can communicate with the dealer, and he has all this information right on his fingertips. And what this means for him is that he's now connected to his car, but what it means for Ford is Ford now has a customer. Instead of just a consumer, instead of just a statistic, they actually get to know my neighbor. And needless to say, I paid a lot more for my car than this Ford, and I was immediately crestfallen because I didn't have my own app. And when we talk about connecting to your customers, it's all about apps. And every company is now, whether they like it or not, they have to be an app company. And the Salesforce1 Platform is here to help you make that transformation into an application company. And we've got great examples of schools like the Academy of Art University in San Francisco that have built an app for their students. I flew out here from San Francisco on a Virgin America flight, and I went into the back and I asked the stewardess, tell me about your social intranet. She pulled out her phone and showed me her social intranet, VX Connect, built on the Salesforce1 Platform. Sales teams can have digital sales catalogs, and even retailers can deliver mobile apps that help them shop and actually connect to their customers in a faster way. So all of these apps, I think we all sit here and intrinsically know that we need applications to connect with our customers and to deliver a modern social and mobile presentation of our business to our customers. But the challenge is it's hard to build mobile apps. So we asked a bunch of leaders about how many of them want to have mobile apps? And everyone says mobile apps are critical. There's no debate that everyone wants mobile apps, but why is it that we're not delivering all the mobile apps that we know that we want to do? Well, it comes down to this concept that we call the IT debt gap, or it's a term coined actually by Gartner. And really what it means is that for all the great ideas out there that we have as business, we go running to our partners in IT and we say, we've got this great idea. We want to do this. And they turn around and they say, we love this idea. We don't have the capacity to do it. In other words, they're saying no. And this is not a good feeling in IT. This is not a good feeling in the business. Nobody likes this feeling. And one of the reasons why they're saying no is because it takes too long with a lot of the legacy technologies they have. If you want to build an app on legacy technologies, you got to go buy a server. You got to provision a server somewhere. You got to install the software. You got to manage it. You got to build and test. And you got to then think about, how am I going to make it mobile? How am I going to make it social? And then you got to think about your innovation, right? And even using infrastructure in the cloud, you still have to do this. This problem doesn't go away with cloud-based infrastructure. You still have to manage all this provisioning. And the power of the Salesforce1 platform is that it takes all of those things, and puts it right into one product. So all you have to do is focus on your application. Now, when you think of the Salesforce1 platform, it's important to know that it's really brings together three families to power all of our customer applications. So our Sales Cloud application, our Service Cloud application, our Exact Target applications, all run on these platforms. But there's also great apps on the App Exchange that run on the platform. And I look after the App Exchange. We've got 2,200 apps built by partners. If you're a partner in this room, could you just put your hand up if you've built an app on the App Exchange? Right? And so this is just one small room in Boston, and look how many people have built apps on the App Exchange. And these are all about helping make your experience easier so you don't have to build an app from scratch. But you can also build customer apps. You can build your core business app right on the platform. And the best way to understand how to do that is to take an in-depth look at all the services that are in the platform. And so we're not going to go through one by one, but you can get a sense that there's a whole bunch of all those things that you need to build applications, your multi-cloud servers, your data security. You know, if you're thinking about building an application, you're going to be asked, well, what's your security model? How are you guys managing security? And that's a big thing on people's mind. And we do that for you on our platform, in our data centers. Then you need things like powerful workflows and analytics. You want to have mobile services so you can build a mobile app from scratch and you don't have to worry about spending tons of time coding things that are repetitive because we've coded them for you and put them in our SDK, our software development kit, if you don't know what an SDK is. And then and this whole thing is predicated on APIs. And we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about APIs today, but the one thing that I will say is that APIs are the key for modern technology, and they allow us to do some of these amazing things. And every single app you have on your phone is powered by APIs. And we're so happy that Salesforce1 Platform has really driven API first so that you can think about what you want to do and not worry about which part of a platform you're pulling the services from. So you take all those things together, and then you put it on our future-proof cloud platform. And this is where we deliver the innovation that we've been delivering for the last 15 years, right? One single multi-tenant infrastructure. You get 42 releases a year. We're about to roll out our 43rd release. And you get scale that's unparalleled. You know, there's 6 billion lines of developer code that we support. You saw in the video 1 billion lines of code, and I think, of transactions a day. And I think that's now like 1.5 billion. But check this out. What if you say, Jim, that's great, all this code, but I don't code? Because so many of our customers that are building apps on the platform are doing it declaratively. They're doing it without coders. They're doing it with business analysts, with liberal arts majors like me. And the reason they do it is because our platform is built for both developers and visual developers, or declarative developers, as we sometimes call them. And it allows you to basically, with point and click and drag and drop, do things like create a mobile app in the Salesforce1 mobile app, or create any sort of business app that you would want for your business. And when we look at the apps that are being built, most of the apps being built leverage a strong amount of this visual development. So it's incredibly powerful for the IT department to think about going faster. So we take all that technology and then we say there's 2 ways. Once you've decided what you want to do with your business, there's 2 ways to deliver it. This morning we looked at the Salesforce1 mobile app, which is this powerful mobile app. We've already deployed this for you, so you don't have to worry about deploying. We have partners in there. We have great partners already putting their apps inside there. So all you have to worry about is how each user in your company is going to use it. And every user can have a different interface. So your operations team and your deliveries team and all the services team can have a different interface than your sales team. So it's incredibly powerful. But you may say, we want something different. We need our own icon, or we need something customer facing. We can't put the Salesforce app in our customers' hands. And that's why we have these SDKs and all these tools to let you go out and deliver the mobile app that you want. So this incredible flexibility is the key about delivering the next generation app. And so that's a quick summary of sort of some of the apps technology that power the next generation apps, and you'll see a demo of an app in a minute. But I wanted to transition pretty quickly into next generation IT, because that's where we've got a great story and we've got some customers. And so I want to invite my colleague, Peter Gaylord, onto the stage. Peter is going to take us through next generation IT.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks. So in today's keynote this morning, you heard about how the Salesforce1 Platform helps a lot of people, how it was created for developers, ISVs, end users, admins, your customers, of course. But I want to talk about someone else that has the opportunity to transform their business using the Salesforce1 Platform. And that person's the CIO. And there's been some debate recently about what's the right way to describe a CIO. Is it the Chief Information Officer? I think that's the traditional one. Some people are saying, well, it should be the Chief Infrastructure Officer. Or maybe it should be the Chief Integration Officer, because there's all these different systems. Well, at Salesforce, we like to think of the CIO as the Chief Innovation Officer, because it's really innovation that is going to drive your business forward and differentiate you from your competitors. And that should be the first priority for CIOs. But is that how they're spending their time? Well, this is a recent survey from Deloitte where they asked CIOs, how are you spending your time? And the majority of their time, almost 60% of the time, they're spending just keeping the lights on, dealing with those back-end systems, instead of spending time on strategy, creating opportunity, innovating for their business. Is that how they want to spend their time? Of course not. When they ask them how you want to spend your time, they want to spend their time innovating, doing those strategic things, not getting slowed down by these existing investments that they have. And that's the amazing thing about the Salesforce1 Platform. As Jim talked about, it takes that drag away from CIOs in their innovation. And it allows them to focus on developing new applications, not on spinning up servers and development stacks and things like that. So the best way to talk about this is through a customer story. Now, we have a customer here with us today. Their CIO is here, and we're going to interview him a little later, Ken Grady. But New England Biolabs is a company that makes enzymes that helps scientists work with the human genome and other genomes. So it's the stuff of life. And it's pretty heady stuff. It's very cool. I'm not going to ask everyone to be an expert here on it, because I know I certainly am not. But here's a company in this space that has taken what they've learned from Dreamforce and gotten inspired by what other people are doing outside of their space to really change how they think about their business and do some incredible things. So let's take a look at their story.
Science is a very stressful endeavor because you have to fail a lot before you actually are successful. So anything that allows you to go through as much work as possible in the shortest period of time is going to help you get to that successful experiment a lot faster.
New England Biolabs, they produces enzymes that cut and modify DNA and started to make those commercially available to the scientific community.
We developed a model several years ago where we were putting freezers of our products out at our customers' sites. Those freezers, that inventory was never interactive with us. We didn't know what they were using until they called to refill it. So last year we went to Dreamforce and listened to how others were using Salesforce and the platform, thinking about ways to connect in not only their people, but also their product. And we came back in and started thinking, what would our freezers tell us? If we could connect it into our Salesforce environment, how would that help us become more responsive to our customers? It's almost like an ATM for enzymes.
They would go to the freezer, look to see where the product is. They would authenticate themselves, pull the product out, scan the product, lock the door, confirm that they've received it, and head back to the lab. That simple workflow process could save them days.
The combined platforms of Heroku and Force.com, we just had to connect it to the freezer itself. In less than 30 days, we had it up and running.
What's exciting to us about Salesforce as a platform is how quickly we've been able to move from a legacy and siloed environment of a number of different applications that didn't talk to each other. Something that's unified and helps us see our customers in the same way that they see us.
We can look for trends across our customers who are using products together, perhaps that we haven't noticed before, and that may allow us to bundle those products together or perhaps modify those products that will service the customer in a different way.
By connecting to Salesforce, you're extending your business process directly to the connected customer.
The scientists we sell our products to are really working on the building blocks for understanding how disease works, for understanding how life evolves.
We're helping that researcher get to that eureka moment eventually faster, then we're very happy.
So I love this story because I think it's a great example of how companies can think outside of the box when they look at the Salesforce platform, thinking about how they can use that technology to really change their business in a very profound way. So let's spend a little time and explore that a little bit more. We're going to demo what NEB is doing with the Salesforce1 platform. Let's start off at the freezer. And so you saw the freezer in the video. This is, to use Ken's terminology, it's like an ATM for enzymes. And a researcher will come up to the freezer, log in, and what that does is it unlocks the freezer, and they're able to go and pull an enzyme or a product from the freezer, scan it in, and get it there. They can use the app to browse what's in the inventory in the freezer. They can do special orders on it, and they can find the things that they need to do their research and take that with them and continue on their way and continue doing the research that they want to do. So NEB built this on Heroku, and they did that for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is that these freezers are all over the place. They're all over the globe. And NEB is not a freezer manufacturer, right? They're a life sciences company. They don't want to be in the business of creating this hardware in these freezers. They want to be able to use off-the-shelf components. And when you're talking about a broad set of geographies, that means a lot of potential different kinds of devices that they're dealing with. And they needed something that they could develop on that would allow them to support any variety of different devices that might be part of this freezer setup. Second thing is they wanted to be able to use Ruby. They had developers that are able to develop and support on Ruby to create these kinds of applications, and that's one of the many languages that Heroku supports. And finally, they wanted to be able to use this interaction that's happening at the site where the freezer is with the scientists to be able to collect data about what is that user interaction, how are the scientists using this, what can they learn from it, how can they use that to develop their products and deliver better services, as well as getting information about the freezers themselves to improve their distribution model. So let's take a look at what they have back at headquarters. And for this, I'm going to be Andy Bertera, who is the CMO, who also has joined us today. And when I log into this, if you're familiar with some of our other products like Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, this custom app that they've created might look kind of familiar, right? And that shouldn't be surprising because all of our apps are built on the Salesforce1 platform so that you get that same kind of robustness, that scalability, the security, those APIs. But instead of for Sales or Service Cloud, it's for your own custom applications. And that's super powerful. So instead of things like leads and contacts and opportunities, we see things that are important for New England Biolabs. Chatter, freezers, scientists, orders, their products. These are things that they can use every day to understand and engage with customers better. Right in my Chatter feed, as Andy, I see the things that are important to me, including this order that we just placed on the freezer. And I can take that open and take a look at it. And with it, I can see what freezer it was done from. And let's take a second look at the freezer itself, because I think this is something that's really interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff going on here with this freezer. This is this idea of a connected device. We talk about the Internet of Things. Well, this is a great example of how that becomes the Internet of Customers. This connected freezer, and these are all over the place, gives me information about where the freezer is, some basic things like that, but it also has telematics, which are being sent by the freezer about its operating condition. Is the door open or closed? Is the temperature appropriate? And I can trigger off of that. If there's something going on with the freezer that it needs service, I can send a service technician out right away so that I'm not having some downtime that I'm worried about. I can see the inventory inside of the freezer. Now, these are essentially retail stores for New England Biolabs, right? This is where people are getting their products directly. So I can see what's in the inventory. I can see freezer orders that are part of maintaining that inventory. In fact, you'll see here that there's a reorder in there. When stock gets low inside of the freezer, New England Biolabs knows and can trigger a reorder directly from their ERP system. In this case, it's Epicor. So that happens automatically. Salesforce1 Platform is tied in with that system to be able to replenish and get that freezer restocked. I can also see the activity history for this freezer, and I can see that this researcher, Jamie Eyre, has placed a number of orders. And this is where it starts to get really exciting. Let's open up and take a look at the scientist's record. So this is an area where things have really changed for New England Biolabs. They get information about what their customers are doing, how they're using their products. I get a record, I understand how they're maybe using products together, and I can use that information to offer them additional products. I can use that to understand how my marketing campaigns are performing. Maybe I should be looking, I see clusters in particular markets or particular types of research where products are being used that maybe I didn't know before, and I can use that information to target and develop my products and my marketing campaigns. And that's exactly what New England Biolabs is doing. They've identified that this scientist has ordered a product for which there's a new product, a replacement product coming out, that they want to seed out into the marketplace and put on trial in some places. And so they want to be able to engage with that scientist now. So the next time that he goes in and goes to the freezer, he is presented with a message, a marketing message, suggesting that he checks out this new product. And gives the opportunity for the commercial operations team to engage with the customer, talk to them about the product, and maybe send them a sample. So let's talk about that part of it a little bit, the commercial operations team. And so this team isn't a group that is spending time in the office. They're out engaging with their customers, talking to them, working in the field, and they need to be mobile. So let's take a look at what they're doing on their mobile device. So with the Salesforce1 Platform, all of those customizations, that custom app that I've created, all that information is now available to the ops team in the field. I can see things in my chatter feed. If I go off to the left, I can see all of those same functions, the freezers, the scientists, the orders, all of those same capabilities in the tabs that were on the desktop app are now in my hand on my mobile device. I can dive into the information, so I can look at the scientists. I can dive into the doctor that we were looking at, Jamie Eyre, and I can see all of that same information that was available to me in the office is now available to me in the field. And I can get notifications related to these records. You see that here that Dr. Eyre was added to this marketing campaign and is eligible for a free sample. You'll also see at the bottom right hand of the screen this plus button. Now, you saw in the keynote this morning, that's a pretty exciting thing for us. That's what we call the publisher, and that's where I'm able to take contextual actions based on what I'm looking at that time in my custom application so that I can do things in real time. So in this case, because I'm looking at a scientist record, I can take a note in a chatter post. I can log a call with them. But that's not good enough. I think we can do better, right? Let's take a look at how we can make it so that a person out in the field can immediately send out a sample. Let's show how we can do that on the Salesforce1 platform. So going back to the desktop, we're looking at the scientist record, And you'll see over to the right, because we're an administrator here and we have the ability to change things, we can edit the layout of this. And what that allows me to do is change what I see. And in this case, we've built a custom action called send sample, and that's as simple as a few fields in a workflow. This is all point and click. And I can take that custom action and I drag it over into the publisher area. And I hit save. And now, when I go back to the feed, I can see on the desktop, there's an additional action there for me to send a sample. I just changed the way that my application operates in real time, and this is immediately usable. So now that the commercial operations team can do this. Oh, but wait. They're in the field, right? Didn't we say that? Yeah. So now we have to figure out how to make this mobile. Well, turns out all we really need to do is refresh, and there it is. That custom action that I just created on the desktop immediately appears inside of the mobile app. I didn't do anything. That's part of the power of the Salesforce1 Platform and the Salesforce1 mobile app, is when you're creating applications and actions and workflows on your desktop, it's mobile. So it's just an example of how it allows companies like NEB to rethink what they're doing, their business processes, how they can be more efficient in the field, how they can do things in real time to be able to just improve how their business is operating. It's really impressive, and that's something that's so exciting to me about the Salesforce1 platform. So I'd like to bring up Ken Grady, who you saw in the video. Ken, thank you for joining us. And Ken and I are going to talk a little bit about what New England Biolabs is doing. So Ken, maybe you could start off by telling us a little bit more about New England Biolabs, and particularly from your role as a CIO, what are some of the inherent challenges in this kind of space for the CIO?
So New England Biolabs is one of the oldest biotech companies in the industry, almost 40 years old. And as you said, Andy Bertera, my colleague for marketing, is here, so I have to get all the science stuff right. I'm not a scientist. I have to kind of simplify it. We make the stuff you use to cut DNA up and put it back together again, right? And this is really important as molecular diagnostics, as biotech and pharmaceutical companies, as academic researchers are progressing our understanding of diseases, and as you heard in the video, kind of the therapies and cures that they're working on today. And we're really proud to be a part of that industry and have the great relationship that we do with our customers and with their scientists. We're a company of scientists for scientists, as we like to say. And so that connection that we have with those individual researchers is really, really fundamental to us and how we want to approach the market.
That's great. So, you know, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit here, but you know, you have a great story about an aha moment that you had at Dreamforce, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we had this idea for a while of these freezers, which we had, these traditional freezers. They're just dumb freezers. You go and you sign out what you're taking. And we had this idea of a connected freezer for a while that we had been noodling around trying to figure out, well, how are we going to do that? And we even had a couple of attempts of some freezers that were built in silos, and they weren't really elegant, and they didn't really take off or meet the mark. And a small group of us went to Dreamforce a couple of years ago, just after we had launched Salesforce, to our sales team and to our tech support in the Service Cloud. And we had seen that GE story about the connected engine. And we got really inspired. We walked away, and you know, I don't know if there was an aha moment or not, but the connection really came, you know, as you do at the end of a conference, right? You go back to your hotel room, you reach in the minibar, you grab out a beer, and you start to think about what you're doing. And that moment of kind of thinking about, it's, you know, we use the metaphor, it's an ATM for enzymes. It's a minibar as well. We thought, you know, if this minibar can charge me immediately, right? You move the beer slightly to the left, and immediately you're charged $10 by the hotel. If that can work, why can't our freezers work the same way? And so we did. We got together at Dreamforce that day, the small group of us, and we started drawing on napkins at the bar across the street from the Moscone Center. What could this actually look like? And we went back. We're really lucky. We have a great partner in Xively who helped us implement Salesforce to begin with. And we went back and talked to those guys and said, make this work. Make it work. We already have our customer information in Salesforce. We already have our product information in Salesforce. Why can't the freezers talk to that and pull from that? And that's when we really started to explore the power of Heroku and that library that allowed us to interact live with our customers, with the researchers. They were right there in front of the freezers, as you see.
And you were able to do that development really quickly, right? Like you had some extremely quick iteration cycles. Maybe you could share that experience.
Yeah, the Xavli guys loved us because we came back and we said we want all this to work and we want it to work in 100 days. So we came back and we set ourselves, we have some great customers, as I said, and some long-standing relationships. And we approached a few friendly customers and we said, we're going to build a prototype. This is going to be our proof of concept. And we'd like to deploy this in about 100 days' time and get some feedback from you about how it's working. And we did that. We went live and we put it out for 90 days and we iterated immediately based on their feedback. And we had another 100-day sprint. And the version you saw now is version 2.0, where we took that feedback from the field that we were able to get from having live prototypes out there working and iterated into a much more app-friendly and a much more intuitive interface. We set ourselves the target. We said, if we have to train anybody how to use this, it's not successful, right? We need to develop something that's intuitive, that's friendly, that's easy to support. As you said, we're using off-the-shelf consumer-grade components to put it together, so our total costs are held down. And we were able to move very quickly from that version 1 to version 2, and now we're working on what's going to be version 3 and beyond.
That's great. Yeah, and we hear a lot from our customers the similar stories of because of the Salesforce1 platform is taking care of all this stuff, they're able to do these iterative cycles and develop quickly. Another thing that we're hearing a lot of is transformations with mobile. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, now that you've started thinking about mobile in this way, how's that changing what you're doing in terms of your business processes? How's it defining that?
Well, as you said, we're not a freezer company, right? This isn't really our space, and it's not where we want to play. So we're looking out across the industries to understand what others are doing. And we're really interested in things like what is on the Kindle now with a Mayday button. That tech support interaction we have. Any chance we get to talk to our customers, to those scientists, we love talking to them. We love to understand what research they're doing, how they're using our reagents, what applications and workflows they're coming up with. So we want to take any opportunity we can in that mobile world to interact with them. We have mobile tools that we're developing for the scientists. We're taking our freezer and we're thinking about what would a virtual freezer program look like, and how would we support that where our product might be in their freezer. And what would the mobile interaction be, and how can we enable this further? We think we can take what we've built here as a framework and move really beyond into other markets. When we work in Europe, for example, or in Asia, the way they interact with mobile is very different. And so we're looking very aggressively at how we do that. We're also supporting our field staff with this. You showed the great example of Send Sample. They were so excited to be able to have that, because before that, it took a phone call, a couple of emails, 3 or 4 days to process that, and now it really is one click. We can tag that person with a sample of the polymerase or the other new product that we just handed them, and the Salesforce does all the work on the back end. 7 days later, it sends out an email from me saying, hey, how'd that sample work out for you? We get that real feedback, and we tie that scientist to the application and to the discovery they're working on, so we can have more relevant communication and conversation with them. So it absolutely supports kind of the business process that we have and the direction that we're headed with that customer intimacy that we're looking for.
Yeah, that's exciting, inspiring stuff, Ken. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with next. It's really great to see how you're adopting this kind of technology and making a difference with your business. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Peter.
Everyone, round of applause, please, for Ken Grady. And I'll turn it back now to Jim Sinai. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. That was a great demo, a great story. And, every time I see Ken speak, I see the twinkle in his eye, and I wish that every CIO has that twinkle in their eye. And I hope that if you're an IT leader in this room, you leave this show today with the same sort of, just passion for transformation. And that leads to this next topic that we're going to close with, which is this topic of the next generation of enterprise. And using the Salesforce1 platform, there's examples all over of companies that are totally transforming their industry and leading their industry, whether it's in the healthcare industry or in the finance industry. We heard from Ken about science, or even a great story of Honeywell that's building connected thermostats. and all about really transforming each individual industry. And how can technology and how can IT really take the lead role in helping the business move forward? And that's what Salesforce is all about. So we're going to close with one final interview with about a customer from One United Bank. Now, One United Bank, you'll learn in a second, is based here in Boston. And they have an engaging story about how they used Salesforce to really transform their go-to-market strategy, not just for an internal application, but for their customers. So I'm going to invite Jim Slocum up. He's the CIO of One United Bank. And Jim, welcome to Salesforce.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Or welcome to Salesforce One Tour, I guess. We haven't hired you, so. So, give us an overview. Who is One United Bank?
Yeah, sure. One United Bank is a community financial development institution. We're located here in Boston, also in Miami and Los Angeles. We're a community bank, so we're small, but we've been, over the course of the last 7 or so years, building out our online services. So now we extend our deposits and our loans and our new program, our credit card program, out over a nationwide footprint.
So a small regional bank with a nationwide footprint. Tell us about this new program that you launched. It was briefly alluded to in the slide, but I thought it would be better if you shared it with us.
Sure. The Unity Visa program is a secured credit card program that is designed to help our customers rebuild their credit. As everyone knows, during the financial downturn, a lot of people's credit was damaged, specifically in the urban communities that we service. We saw a huge need for us as a financial institution to step in and help our customer by giving them a product that will help them rebuild their credit. So we designed this Unity Visa secured credit card program to take applications from our customers online in real time and get them a decision
on any device, right?
On any device.
So you guys use Salesforce for this customer-facing application. What is it? How does it work?
Yeah, sure. So we started out looking for a commercial solution, as most community banks do. But we quickly found that this particular need, we couldn't customize it the way we wanted to help our customers. So we actually looked to Salesforce as one of our strategic partners and their platform to go out and build this online application.
And so you have a front-end application that's a web application that's integrated into what systems?
Yeah, sure. So we built out the front end using the salesforcesites.com technology. So we actually are presenting our customers with a dynamic application that responds to their specific personal need and collects their data. We compile that within a custom object in Salesforce, and then we package it up and ship it over to our underwriting platform, where we do a bunch of data pulls to analyze their credit and OFAC checks, background.
Stuff that Salesforce would never do.
Credit checks. Salesforce wouldn't do, but Salesforce as the foundation for the platform gave us the technology to be able to interface with that particular back-end enterprise system and then immediately in real time present our customers with a decision.
So you mentioned something that I want to touch on, which I found really interesting, which is this concept of all the customer data goes into Salesforce. So how are the teams inside of One United looking at that data? What's the experience been when you went live? Like, just it sounds, when you told it to me, I kind of fell out of my chair. It was a cool story.
Yeah, sure. So, this was a big endeavor for us. I mean, we're a small institution, so this was big, and there was a lot of tension around the office as we rolled out. A lot of concern over how it was going to go. Where was the data going to be? How was it going to perform? Well, within the first couple of days, the president of the bank, Terry Williams, pulled out the Salesforce1 mobile app and pulled up the dashboard we had built to comprise kind of the data and what was happening. And in a moment, it was like lights went on. She realized all of a sudden that she was going to be able to have her fingers on the data and know what was happening with the operation and kind of feel the pulse of how it was going during the rollout.
Because Terry's over here smiling because there's nothing better than being an executive with all the data at your fingertips every morning. So I think that's a phenomenal story. I love the fact that you can take, a customer-facing site, give it its own look and feel, make it mobile and responsive, but have all that data flow into our platform and have a mobile app that you don't have to build. It just works, and everyone can have access to it. And so what's next for One United? What are you guys thinking about investing in next?
Yeah, so we found with this experience that we were really able to connect with our customers and bring them a really quality product and service and deliver the expertise in the financial industry that we know we have. What we're going to do is we're going to use more of the Salesforce platform to extend out to our customers and really hope to interact with them and work with them on scheduling on-site appointments or engaging them with providing better customer service.
Very cool. Jim, thank you so much. That's a great story. He'll be around after if you have questions for him. Big round of applause for Jim Slocum. I love this story of the small company with a national footprint and really leveraging technology to get a bigger footprint. And that's really the beauty of any technology and really what we're aiming to help you with in your business. So just to wrap up with this concept, which is that we introduced this morning the Internet of Customers, and I started today by talking about this concept that apps connect everything. And my final question to you, my final ask of you is, what app are you going to build? When we come back to Boston next, which one of you are going to sit in these chairs and share your story of the app that you built? So I just wanted, on behalf of Peter and myself and the entire platform team, say thank you very much. If you have questions, we'll be over out by the door, and we're also in the campground if you want to take a look at the Salesforce1 platform in more detail. And because we like feedback and you like coffee, just a reminder to fill out your feedback at the registration desk, and you can get a $5 gift card to Dunkin' Donuts. Excuse me. All right, thank you so much, and have a great afternoon.